It all started when the flight attendant tossed my suitcase and said, "Your style doesn't really fit our airline." She thought that was the end of it. But the look on her face when I showed her a letter straight from the CEO's office? Let's just say karma flies faster than any plane. John Miller, 58, had a face weathered by time and a sharp gaze that missed nothing. His faded red MAGA hat sat firmly on his silver hair, a beacon of his unwavering confidence. He wore a crisp, navy blue blazer over a simple white shirt, carrying himself with an air of authority that seemed to go unnoticed as he stepped onto the plane. The flight was bustling with activity, passengers cramming bags into overhead compartments, children crying, and flight attendants weaving through the chaos with forced smiles. John quietly found his seat, placing his modest, slightly worn suitcase in the overhead bin. Not long after, Amanda, a flight attendant in her early 30s with perfectly coiffed blonde hair and an impatient expression, approached. Her sharp eyes fell immediately on John's hat. "Sir, is this your bag?" she asked, pointing at the suitcase. John nodded politely. "Yes, it is. Is there an issue?" Amanda gave a tight-lipped smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, this bin is reserved for first-class passengers. I'll need to move it." John raised an eyebrow, glancing around. The overhead bin was half empty. "Seems there's plenty of room." Her smile faltered, replaced by a hint of annoyance. "I said it's reserved, sir." Before John could respond, she grabbed his suitcase, muttering something under her breath that sounded suspiciously like, "Should have known." John watched silently as she carried his suitcase toward the front of the plane. Something in her tone and body language told him this wasn't just about overhead space. The flight had barely taken off when Amanda returned with a tray of drinks, her customer service bow firmly plastered on. John sat quietly, hands folded, as she passed out refreshments. When she reached his row, she paused, tilting her head as if appraising him. "Would you like something to drink, sir?" John nodded. "Just water, please." Amanda handed him a plastic cup, then leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You know, people tend to make assumptions about guys like you wearing that." She motioned subtly to his hat, her tone dripping with condescension. John met her gaze evenly, his expression unreadable. "And what assumptions are those?" Amanda shrugged with feigned innocence. "Oh, you know, outdated ideas, thinking you're more important than you are." John said nothing, but the faintest smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. Amanda's confidence grew, mistaking his silence for defeat. As the flight continued, John noticed Amanda making a point to avoid his row, except when she passed by to check on others. And then it happened. A commotion erupted at the front of the plane. Amanda had taken John's suitcase, claiming it was causing a storage issue, and unceremoniously left it on the jet bridge before takeoff. Another passenger, overhearing the situation, turned to John. "Hey, is that your bag she's talking about?" John nodded slowly, his calm demeanor masking a brewing storm. As the plane landed and passengers began to disembark, Amanda stood by the exit, thanking everyone with a rehearsed smile. When John approached, she straightened, her tone overly polite. "Hope you enjoyed your flight, sir." John paused, tilting his head slightly. "Actually, I didn't." Amanda blinked, unsure how to respond. John pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward her. It displayed an email with the subject line, "Ownership Confirmation, Sky High Airlines." Amanda's face paled as she read the message. "You're the—" John interrupted, his voice steady. "Owner, as of yesterday. So, I guess I'll have to review your customer service skills personally." The cabin went silent as nearby passengers turned to watch the unfolding scene. Amanda stammered, her confidence evaporating. "Sir, I didn't know." John smiled, the faint smirk returning. "No, you didn't. But you do now." Without another word, he walked off the plane, leaving Amanda frozen in place, her face flushed with a mix of embarrassment and dread.